Hello, good morning. This is Glasgow Rangers Nation. I'm Owen James, and this is all your latest Rangers news, guys. It is a Saturday. It's not a Saturday with football, though. When is the football back? We want football. We want football. We want real football. Like a toddler, don't I, having a strop? Anyway, look, we're going to talk Rangers. We're going to talk some really interesting things that came out of the interview that Russell Martin gave. We're going to talk JD Gassama, Robin Proper, Clinton Nsiala, Ben Davies. As it seems, the dead wood clearance is happening. Although there's still a lot of dead wood, I think, in this squad. We're going to talk goalkeepers as well. We've got a lot to get through in this video, so please buckle in, sit down, settle down, and enjoy. And if you like the content, guys, the best way to make sure you never miss out on the free content. This is free. I don't charge you for content. I don't go onto Patreon and hide stuff behind paywalls and say, you get this, you get that, but you got to pay for it. I give it to you for nothing. You know what? If you want to help the channel, you subscribe, you watch the videos. That's amazing. If you want to help a little bit more, you become a member. If you want to help even more, you hit the super thanks button down there, donate a bit of cash. When we do lives, you do the super chat, super stickers. That's the way you help. But we're not going to charge you for content. That's not what we do here at Glasgow Rangers Nation. You know, I don't believe in that. Ever. I don't believe in charging you money. I don't believe in exploiting you for cash. That's not the way we work here at Glasgow Rangers Nation. Massive plans for this channel heading forward. Right, look. Let's start off with JD Gassama. Look, JD Gassama has been training with Rangers. I think that's clear. Absolutely clear. You know, we've seen the pictures of him in Rangers training kit. We've seen, obviously, the fact that he is with the club now. The likelihood, obviously, is that he will be a Rangers player very soon. No official announcement, however, from the club yet to add to all those fantastic summer signings. I don't know about you, but I'm buzzing for this new season. You know, with all these players that are coming through the door, you know, it's like some sort of really great Christmas, isn't it? You used to have Christmas, and like you'd have Christmas Day and you get your presents from your parents, and then Boxing Day would come and like your grandparents would turn up and they'd give you your presents, and then suddenly your aunties and uncles would turn up like the day after and you get those presents, and then perhaps it's just me, I don't know, but you'd keep getting presents over that festive period. It's a bit like that, isn't it? It's a bit like Christmas come early for Rangers fans. It really is, and it's fantastic, and it's so nice to have owners that seem to genuinely know what they're doing, to have a sporting director and a a head of scouting that genuinely seems to know what they're doing. And I don't know about you guys, but it's actually nice to kind of start behaving like a proper football club again. You know, I think for too long we behaved like some sort of 1970s throwback club run by, you know, your dad's friend's uncle's brother who has a haulage firm, or, you know, your sister's boyfriend's dad who owns a furniture company, or, you know, or a car dealership, you know, that sort of thing. You know, we're actually run by proper football businessmen now, and we seem to be behaving like a proper football business. But look, I mean, JD Gassama, look, he looks like he's heading through the door. Russell Martin said in the interview that he gave that Gassama is the deal from our end is all tied up. It's just a case now of Sheffield Wednesday doing their bit. There's obviously a lot of issues around the Yorkshire club. Sheffield Wednesday going through a bit of a financial meltdown, a financial crisis. Their owner, Chancery, I think, you know, he's an absolute knob. He really is. I mean, look, I'm not a Sheffield Wednesday fan, never have been, never would be, but I really do feel sorry for their fans. You know, this is a big historic club down here in England. Sheffield Wednesday are a club that, you know, historically played in the top flight, and you know, have had some great players in their time. And the way he's treated the club, the way he's treating the players, the way he's treating the fans is absolutely disgusting. And, you know, I stand with their fans in calling for a change of ownership. But, you know, good for us, you know, I suppose, because we're obviously going to get Gassama. So Russell Martin was confident that the Gassama deal will be tied up very, very soon. And it was really interesting to hear what he had to say. You know, he talked very much about the fact that JD is different to what we've got. He's an exciting player. I mean, not that we haven't got some exciting players, but, you know, he's an out-and-out winger. He's quick, he's fast, he's direct. He likes to take players on. He likes to go past people. This is a French youth international, a guy who came through Paris Saint-Germain's youth system. I mean, if we look at Paris Saint-Germain at the moment, and look, I really hope they absolutely fucking smash Chelsea. I mean, personally, I cannot stand Chelsea. Really cannot stand Chelsea. Ever since Abramovich took over. But, you know, I hope they smash Chelsea. But, you know, Paris Saint-Germain are a team that you know, that are well renowned for producing excellent young players, and JD Gassama seems like another player off that production line, and I certainly hope that, you know, when he comes to Rangers, he is a player that proves that he is what we all think he is. You know, this winger that will go past people, that create chances, score goals, He seems an absolutely excellent signing, and obviously, props to Kevin Thelwell and Dan Purdy for going out and getting him. So I think he's someone who'll make a real difference in this team. I think he's a plug and play starter from day one. So great move, great to hear that he is close and he is on his way to the club. I look forward to seeing him in the Royal Blue and look forward to seeing him play for Rangers, and obviously hopefully he's here in time for the Panathinaikos game. That obviously would be immense if he's there and he's able to play in that game. I think he would make a huge difference for the club. Right, look, let's talk a bit more about some of the players that are not currently at St George's Park. There's been some fantastic photos, videos, stuff coming out of the club, St George's Park. There's been some brilliant training stuff going on there, and I think there's a lot of hard work going in there. It's clear that Russell Martin and his staff are really working the players hard and prepping the players and getting them fit and strong and healthy and good to go. And that's great. That's what you want to see. And I think for me, getting Rangers to a point where this team is, fit, it's healthy, it's good to go, it's ready for that Panathinaikos game is absolutely key. And then obviously from that is ready to kick on for the first game of the season out against Motherwell. It's a bit of a come down, isn't it, after Panathinaikos in the Champions League to Motherwell at Fir Park. No disrespect to Motherwell, but you know what I mean. However, Robin Proper, Clinton Nsiala, Leon King, Ben Davies, Jose Cifuentes all are not at St George's Park with the club. I'll repeat that again for those of you, obviously. Robin Proper, Leon King, Ben Davies, Jose Cifuentes and Clinton Nsiala are all not at the club, not at St George's Park with the club. Now, when Russell Martin was asked why these players are not here, he basically said they are not part of the plans, they are not going to play for the club, they're either close to a departure or they're just not needed here. So basically, you need to know that those players are gone. They're gone. They're not part of his plans. They're not playing. They're not being part of the plans. They will not be featuring. They are on their way out of the club. And look, the squad's huge at the moment. It's about 40 players, I think I heard the other day. And we do need to clear dead wood. Absolutely need to clear dead wood. And I would put those players in that dead wood category. Now, the fascinating thing that came out of the interview that Russell gave was that a fee has been agreed with FC Twente for the departure of Robin Proper, and it is now down to Robin to decide what he wants to do. So, all it needs basically now is Robin to agree to the move, and he will depart the club. Russell said, obviously, as well, if that move was not to be decided, that Robin Proper was to decide that move is not for him, then he has to find something else, because basically he's not part of the plans. He said they'd signed a lot of centre halves. He said he's going to struggle to find playing time. So at the end of the day, he's not going to play. So, I mean, looking at it in what Russell Martin said, I honestly don't think Connor Cody is now part of the plan either. He's talked about, obviously, we've got Manny Fernandez, we've got Nastajiga, we've got John Suter, we've got, we've got those three players, obviously, at the club at this moment in time. And I do think it sounds a lot like he is saying that for him, we're not bringing anybody else in, and that is strong enough there. And we are now looking at other areas to strengthen. Now, obviously, you can debate that all you want. Russell Martin appears to be happy with that. And look, I think, maybe long term there is other players maybe needed, but I think it sounds to me as if we are now looking to strengthen the wide areas. We're looking at strikers. We're looking at those positions in particular to move the club forward. But in terms of Robin, it does seem that he is on his way out. And look, as I've said before, I've got no ill feeling towards the boy. He came here. He gave it a go. He scored a goal against Celtic. I mean, that's going to obviously always be something that he's going to be, praised for. But look, at the end of the day, we've got to look at it in terms of, Robin Proper has not coped with Scottish football. Genuinely has not coped with Scottish football. He's looked all right in Europe, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that he's ever settled here. He doesn't look like a player here, and look, if we can get a fee for him, even if it's half what we paid for him, sometimes, as I've said before, you need to sort of cut your coat according to your cloth and be prepared to take those losses on the chin. And I think that is one of those. The Ben Davies situation, I think Ben was still. I think there's a lot of talk around him going to Birmingham. There's a lot of talk down here about him coming to Birmingham for around $2.5 million, which would be a good piece of business if we can get that one over the line. Leon King to Wickham seems to have kind of fallen apart. Cifuentes, I think, this kind of proves that rumour that was going around about the cancelling of the contract does seem to be a little bit more real. Clinton Nsiala, the boss has already said that he can leave, whether that's on loan or permanently, who knows. But look, it's time they're clearing house a little bit, and I don't think this is the end of the departures. And Martin said that himself, in that interview, that it's not just these guys who will be outgoing; there will be others who will leave the club through this transfer window. And he also said, rather encouragingly, there is more incomings planned as well. So this change is massive. This change is huge. Do not underestimate it. Genuinely, do not underestimate this change. It is genuinely massive. But the other one, obviously, that's been talked about is Carl Rushworth, the Brighton goalkeeper. He's been talked as a possible loanee. Rushworth's an interesting one. I was looking at his career yesterday, and he's been someone who has spent a lot of time out on loan to a lot of clubs. I mean, Brighton seem to have picked him up, and he seems to be one of those players that Brighton, like Abdallah Sima, was a little bit as well, who kind of been lent out to everybody, and it's kind of more of an investment than a player they want to play. I mean, if you look at his career, he was signed by Brighton in 2019, but since then he's been at Worthing on loan, Walsall on loan, Lincoln on loan, Swansea City on loan, Hull City on loan. He has worked with Russell Martin previously, which gives a bit more truth to the rumour as regards his possible arrival in Glasgow. He's never actually played for Brighton, not the first team anyway. He's never actually played for the full Brighton team in his entire time there. With Worthing, he made 30 appearances in the Isthmian Premier League. With Walsall, he made 46 appearances in League 2. With Lincoln, 46 appearances in League 1. With Swansea City, he made 48 appearances in the Championship and the EFL Cup, and played 3 times for Hull City as well. So, he's a goalkeeper that's had a lot of experience elsewhere. Very much an exciting young talent. A player that Brighton do rate. He's 24 years old. He's 6'2". He's a very good shot stopper. Very good on crosses. He's a player though that fits what Russell Martin wants. Everyone knows that Russell Martin wants to play out from the back. That is the way it works. Russell Martin is a possession-based footballer. He's very much a Guardiola-esque, a student of Pep. And, if you look at Pep's goalkeepers, Edison, Ortega, whoever, they all play out from the back. And you look at, even like, you look at Liverpool, you look at Arne Slot, the way he does, plays out from the back. Alisson Becker, best goalkeeper in world football, plays out from the back. You look at Arsenal, Mikel Arteta, Raya, plays out from the back. It is very much that new way of playing. And Carl Rushworth is a goalkeeper that fits that model. He did it at Swansea City for Russell Martin. He does fit that model. Again, this would be a loan player. I don't know whether it'd be a loan with an option to buy or an obligation to buy, but he seems like a very good young goalkeeper and someone I think could come in and make an instant impact at Rangers, if it is that Russell decides that Liam Kelly and Jack Butland are not the future here. My personal concerns over Jack Butland is that his distribution is poor, that he wouldn't fit into that playing out from the back. He's probably the best shot stopper at the club. Liam Kelly is better with the playing out from the back, but he's not a very good shot stopper, and he's like Dracula on crosses. So, for me, Liam Kelly's a backup. That's all he is. He's not a starter. If you're starting with Liam Kelly against Panathinaikos or against Motherwell on the first day of the season, then I'm going to worry big time. But look, I think this is an interesting link. Certainly one that I would welcome. A good player. Hopefully, this is one that Rangers are genuinely interested in, and then Dan and Kevin, as Russell calls them, are working on this deal. But it's a fascinating time, isn't it? Absolutely fascinating time. With these players possibly going out this next sort of week or so. Gassama hopefully coming in. We've got Asgard, we've got Rothwell, we've got Aarons, we've got Manny Fernandez, we've got Giga. We've got a lot of players who've come in. Yes, it is time to start clearing the decks. I'll give you that. But it's a good time, man. It's a really positive time, and it's a really positive time to be a Rangers fan. I think we're moving forward. Hamza and Dessers are back in training. Hopefully, Hamza obviously is getting himself sorted and fit. Hopefully, if he's still at the club, he will play against Panathinaikos. I think, if realistically, if you're picking your strongest team for that Panathinaikos game, then you've got to start Hamza in the number 9 position. There is no debate on that one. He is the best striker at the club by a mile. So, guys, let me know your thoughts on the news, on what Russell Martin had to say on this video. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. As always, look, if you've enjoyed it, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Been a pleasure speaking to you. As always, you are my Rangers family. Thanks for watching.